Hey, Josh Thomas Academy Mortgage. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing great. It's Friday, November 17th when I'm recording this. Got some good stuff here for you that's probably going to be pertinent for months, if not years. So feel free to watch this if it's not November 17th while you're watching it. But I just wanted to kind of go through a couple of articles. There is a lot of bad press. Of course, we've heard that term many, many times from recent elections. But there's some bad press out there that is effectively pulling the blinder over our eyes, and so I wanted to kind of dispel some of that today for you. So here's an article. It says Fannie Mae charged taxpayers $250,000 for a chandelier. So if you don't recognize the name Fannie Mae, I don't know, keep tuning in and keep trying to understand it. It's really going to help to understand. But Fannie Mae is one of the 5 main channels of where all mortgage activity goes. So when you go and apply for a mortgage with me or any other bank or lender in the country, you're going to more than likely they're selling their loans to Fannie Mae as one of the 5 channels. So anyway, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac is another name of somebody very, very similar to Fannie Mae, and those two companies basically constitute conventional loans. There's other things too, but that's basically the gist of it. And so when you apply for a conventional loan, you're basically applying for a Fannie Mae or a Freddie Mac loan. Now, what is that, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, when the market started crashing and stuff, the TARP bailout funds came out, and everybody got mad that the U.S. government was spending $1 trillion to bail out a bunch of banks. Well, a couple of those banks were Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They're not a traditional bank. There's no retail outlet. You don't bank your checking and savings with them. They simply purchase mortgages from banks. And they securitize them and create a very, very healthy mortgage market that we have, much different than the one that was very, very popular that caused most of the crash. But anyway, their loans are generally very, very good loans. Anyway, my point is that these two companies, they received $187 billion of that TARP funds of the bailout, and a lot of people were really mad because it's like, they should just be allowed to fail. Well, maybe AIG and Wells Fargo and all the rest of them, maybe. I don't know. You can argue that, whatever. But these two particular companies were already basically pseudo-government companies anyway, so it didn't really matter much. But when the government took them, they did put them in conservatorship to the government, and any profits that were generated by these two companies from then on out were paid back to the U.S. government. And so what you don't know when you see these two articles here, and here is another one, what you don't know, or maybe you do, is this article. Let's see if I can get back up there. So Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have now paid taxpayers $239 billion, but what about their investors? This article is from 2 years and 2 months ago? 2 years ago, and here's what's in it. And by the way, this is a solid article. This is true stuff. They report their earnings all the time. So 2 years ago, these guys paid back, from the 9 years ago, the agencies have paid back $239 billion to the Treasury, obviously exceeding their $187 billion. And then here's the worst part about it. All those billions are simply considered dividends and have no effect on the outstanding principal. So these guys took out a $187 billion loan from the government and have paid back $239 billion, but haven't touched that principal yet at all because they're not allowed to. Because the U.S. government did both a smart and a greedy thing at the same time. They took control of Fannie and Freddie, much like they took control of Social Security's trust fund and Medicare's trust fund, and that's why the federal government owes trillions. Is it trillions? I believe it's like $4 or $5 trillion to these Social Security and Medicare trust funds. So they're doing the exact same thing with these companies, and so these companies who have now generated $239 billion as of 2 years ago, and they're probably closer to $400 billion now, they're doing really good, these companies. But the other people that own them, besides the government, are making nothing. That's what this article is really all about. And in addition to that, the government is requiring them to gradually wind down their capital reserves. So let me get this straight. You're making a bank reduce how much they have in reserve. That sounds like a smart choice. So anyway, the point of this article, there's lots of things we could talk about. Kudos to the government for finding a source of revenue. But shame on the government for continuing to hold on to it and not even allow them to pay that 187 back. And so when we're talking to our Congress people, that's something you should keep in mind. We should definitely make them own up and let Fannie and Freddie get back out into the free markets. They're doing fine. They're providing. If you like putting less than 20% down, then you really like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Let's put it that way, because they're more or less a huge portion of that. So, and then when you see other articles out here that say through Fannie Mae, U.S. taxpayers are buying rental homes, that's a bunch of crap. This article is a bunch of crap, and it was just written. And then here's another one. Fannie Mae charged taxpayers $250,000 for chandelier. Crap. And not surprisingly, I went ahead and contacted her. No response, no answer at all. I asked her, if she's ever read this article here or done any other homework to find out that the U.S. government has more than been paid back, and the taxpayers aren't paying crap. These guys are paying your taxes for you at this stage of the game, so how's that? Anyway, I don't want to take up any more of your time. Just wanted to wish you a great weekend and help empower you with knowledge that's important. So I hope that you have a fantastic weekend. Thanksgiving's coming up, depending on when you watch this. And so anyway, have a great one. Be grateful, count your blessings, and enjoy your life, man. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.